Hello and welcome to the Spring Jumbo Tag Class 2023. I am Liz Vigliotto, and today we are going to paint some tulips, some teacups, and hopefully we'll get to the spring and hopefully we'll be able to do some bees. I have gone ahead and did a sample of the base coating that should be done already. My base coating of the tulips is a slightly different color because I did not think the Poetic Plum with the shading of the black plum was going to show up on the camera. So I went ahead and I painted my tulips. I think it was Brilliant Purple. And I think it's just going to show up better with the black plum so you can see it. The leaves and the stems should be base coated in Hauser medium. The top cup is aloe green and a white mix because we just want it a little bit lighter than the aloe. The middle cup is done in candy cane. Or I'm sorry, not candy cane, cotton candy. And the gray cup is done in gray sky. Okay. I'm going to have to do a little moving around because my piece that I base coated, I'm going to do mine on a stamp compared to the jumbo tag that everybody else is probably doing, or maybe not, it doesn't matter. So the first thing we're going to do is get out a dry brush, and we're going to dry brush the tulips, and we're going to use Frosted Plum for that. Okay, so you're going to get a dry brush, not too big. This might be a little bigger than what I want, which is, so this is a 10, an 8 or a 6 would probably be better. Something maybe a little smaller. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to dry brush each section, okay? And it's going to be with Frosted Plum. Let's see what I'm doing here. So right on this one, okay, you can see where I did it right here. I'm going to add a little more white to mine just so you can see it. The brightness a little bit better. If you need to do that on yours, it's perfectly fine. Okay, so there is our first dry brush. We're also going to do a little dry brushing on this petal here. Okay, and on this one here. But we're going to go back over these with a float, so don't get too worried if it looks a little weird right now because there's no shading or anything on it. We're going to also go ahead, do some dry brushing right here. This is the Frosted Plum, and again, I added a little white. You can do that if you want. Okay, but we just want to make sure that color gets on there. We're also going to do a little dry brushing right here. Make sure you really wipe a lot of that color off before you put it on your surface. Okay. So as you can tell, I am dry brushing basically the shape of the tulip. So this one is a long tulip lengthwise. This one is more of a round, shorter Okay. Same thing with this one. And this one. This one's long also. So go ahead and get those in there. A little more frosted plum and white for me. It's up to you. But the instructions do say frosted plum, and that's kind of what the picture that you have, your photograph, looks like. So, okay. So here we go. Alrighty. So now we are going to take out a little bit of black plum. Now go ahead and clean out that dry brush. We're gonna use it again. If you don't have another one, you can, it should dry. Wipe it out really good though. Get out a little bit of black plum, and you're gonna use a flat or an angle, it doesn't matter. Now, I like to use a 1/2 inch. I could go a little bit smaller though on these for right now. I think I'm going to use, this is number 10. Okay, so for this petal here, we're calling this number 1. You're going to take your black plum and you are going to float. We're going to do each petal separately, right? Actually, you know what? Let me draw these in again real quick for you. I kind of lost them when I did my dry brushing, but I had some lines in here. And this does make it a little bit easier as a guide on your tulips. Oops, pressed a little too hard. This one here, you can still kind of see it. It's up there like that. This one, let's see here. That was pretty much it on that. Okay, so on this one, okay, and then right here. All right, I think that's a little better when we start our float, so you can tell exactly where we're going with this black plum. Okay, so we're going to start. Actually, let's start up here so we don't run into any problems as we move our way around the flower. So we are just going to add some of that black plum right in here, okay? We want it across the bottom of that last petal. All right. We also want a little bit of the black plum right in here in that center, okay? Just like that. Now we're going to go back and we're going to highlight that, you know, whether it's going to be a float or use a liner. We're going to add some white to that, and that's going to separate those a little bit better. All right, and then right here, we're going to go down right at the base. We're going to do it on both sides. All right, so just like that. Now, I like to use a little mop brush just to soften that up. Okay, and really these are going to pop and really stand out once we get the highlights on there. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this petal here. It's just going to be a float of the black plum. Oops, a little too much paint on that one. It's gonna be a float of the black plum, starting at the base again, and you're gonna walk it up a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna add just a little more color. I'm gonna mop or tap this out just a tad. Okay. Just like that. So what's funny is on camera, my petals look really purple, but in reality, they look a little more red that float. So let me see like that. Okay. I think that's better. It shows the different, let's see, bring some other light over here. I think that's better. Yeah. Okay. So you can see where we have that deep black plum. We have our highlight here, and then of course the background. So next we're going to go ahead and we're going to float right here. Okay, that's the inside of that petal or the flower, basically. Just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to float at the base of each one separately. That's the trick with these tulips, is they're all done separate, right? Gotta let it dry in between too. Okay. Our next one, let's do this one in the very back. We're going to go right here. Because what this is doing, it's going to make it look like this petal is over that one. So we want to tap, tap, tap. Okay, just like that. And then we're also going to come up from the base. All right, just like that. And again, right here, this is the inside. Just like anything else, you want to float next to the next petal or the next object, okay? Because it's inside. And lastly, on this one, we're going to go ahead and do float from the base, but we're also going to float right up there. Okay, we're going to float on there. And then also on the other side. So you're going to do the base of the petal, then you're going to come up the side. All right. And then go ahead and go along. And tap, tap, tap. Okay. All righty. I know we did some dry brushing with the frosted plum, but we're going to go ahead and do it again with some floats, and then we're going to reinforce those floats or those highlights with some Snow White. So I'm going to do, for me, because my frosted plum wasn't showing up that well, I'm going to do a little bit of a mix, which is, it'll be fine. You're going to want a smaller flat, or actually a small angle will work really well. All right, so I have here It's the black silver. It's a 1/4 inch angle. I love these brushes. I like the handles on them. They're just really light. Okay. So let's take a little black plum and a little snow white. Not black plum, frosted plum. I just want mine to pop out a little bit more. And right here, you're going to go on this back, oops, sorry, this back petal. Okay, you're going to do your float right along the outside edge. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so, oops. Okay, so I'm going to just do a little bit of a float right across the back. Now, this is not going to show up until you really reinforce it with white. Now you can just go straight in there with white too. It's up to you. It's still going to be a pretty stark contrast. Okay. So I'm going to let this dry for a minute. Okay. I'm going to add some more. Right here across the top. And some snow white. We just want to make sure that our floats are soft. So if you have to go back over, you can. Let's see, I'm going to come right here. Okay. Just like that. Let me blend out a little bit more white for this side. Okay. And then also right up here. What I found with these flowers, and when I paint things like this, you might not always get it perfect the first time. If you let that dry for a minute, you might, if you lose some of your floats like I did. It's okay just to go back. Maybe I'll have better luck if I just move my picture. Okay. So you So I like that one. Now let's go ahead and do some of the white on this one. Now this is a little bit bigger of a flower or the tulip head. Get a little bit bigger brush. Now also another thing when you float, let's see. I think I can do it this way. You can all still see. We're highlighting this, okay? Doesn't have to be straight across. It should be, because that's not what a real flower would look like. So I'm going to mop it out. Okay. You might even want to go back if you have a. Okay. Now, there is a highlight right back there, but that's really small. And just kind of tap in some of that color, some of that white, okay? So then as you're looking at it, okay, so we have 1, 2, let's go to this one. You might want to switch back to your smaller brush. It's up to you. Sometimes a bigger brush can give you a better flow of your paint. I don't want to step over all this other stuff that I've been working on either. So I'm going to turn it back this way again. It just seems easier for me to paint it correctly the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and float that back petal. Okay. You can't really see that. Let me do that one. So with white, you know, even when I do line work, I'm finding that I do it twice just because I really like the contrast, but it just makes it pop out just a little bit more. Okay. You have your petal over here at the top or the side rather. Okay. And this one. Okay. Turn it back around. If you feel like you lost some of this dark in here, go back in. You could even go as far as adding a little black to your black plum. If you really want to get it to look deep and dark, it's up to you. Let's see. So on this one back here, let's see. Yeah, this one right here. Again, we're going to do this back petal, the very tip, right? We're also going to go across the tops of the front petals. Right, so you have this little dark hole in it, right? Then on this one right here, this is that flip, right? A, a lip, I guess I should say. I don't know what it's called. It's the way um, the petal is lying across. Well, then we have it over here. We need to make this pop out a little bit. Okay. And the final one here is kind of like this one. It's just the front petals are closed together. So again, with the Snow White, so we're going to go right here. Remember, if you're doing the frosted plum, reinforce it after they're dry and do another coat, and it's going to be of the straight Snow White. Or you can just do straight Snow White, doesn't matter. I mean, it gives it a little bit of a different look. Okay. I'm going to come down here. Oops, that got really bright. That's all right. I'm going to mop it out. I may have to add some more black plum to that. I know I'm gonna have to, okay, because I just completely lost. I think I need to come up here more with my black plum. I thought I was looking at a different flower. Let me just dry this real quick. Okay, so there. And then I just want to make this that little I lost my shape and I don't. Well, I guess this is a good thing because then you can see how we're going to go ahead and just fix it back up. All right. So I got my background back in there, so I'm going to dry it again. It's dry for sure. All right, so now I'm going to get a little of the highlight again. And I promise I won't screw it up again. Okay, so let's go back here. I'm going to add some of that highlight color. Okay, just like that. And then right in here. Okay, and then right here. Actually, I do want to go right here too. Okay. So, got a little bit of a funny shape there. So I can either go back in with my blue. This is all blue chiffon or chiffon blue. Or I can try first just to put another float of black plum. I just want this to be more of the tulip shape. There you go. All right. I'll let it dry for a minute. I can work on that later. No big deal. Okay, so now that we have our petals in, we're going to go down to the leaves and the stems. So those should be already base coated, medium, Hauser medium. And let's see, we're going to, I just want to make sure I'm doing this. So you guys can follow along a little easier. Okay, so Hauser dark green is going to be the float, the shade on here. And then the highlight is going to be the light, the Hauser light, right? So here we go. I want to get my other paper out so I can follow along. Oh, here we go. So let's get the Hauser dark, and you're going to use a smaller angle or a small flat. except for the bigger leaves right here. You can use a 1/2 inch, but let's just get out the Hauser Dark. And we're going to just do one leaf at a time. So I'm going to start with I might just be able to use this angle, 1/4 inch angle on all of them. But we're going to start right here, okay? And we're going to float along the bottom, and it comes up a little bit. Okay, so right here. All right, there's your first float. Mop it out. You just want to soften it a little bit. So then on the leaf next to it, or actually, let's just hit the stem real quick. We're going to hit the stem underneath this, the base, right? Right here on the stem next to that tulip head. All right. Let's get right here. Okay. Add a little float up next to the flower. Okay, then on this, you want to just do that base right here. We do the base of the leaf on each one. It's all with the Hauser. Okay, so we have that one in. We also have this one right here. You know, you can always go back and touch up with your blue whenever you need to. So this one, I'm going to put in my, just so you can tell, this is the stem part right here in the middle of those two lines. So there's the stem. The leaves are overlapping it a little bit. So we're going to, this is the base of this leaf. Like I said, if you have to go back, it's funny how, you know, every time you paint something, it doesn't turn out the same twice. At least for me, it doesn't. I mean, it's basically the same, but you know, things happen. Okay, so we're gonna do another float. Let's see, we got them all. So we have this bottom one and this bottom one, and then we have it underneath here. We're also gonna go, this stem intersects with this stem, meaning it's right next to it, right? We got it right here. And we also have it right here. So when it's like an intersection, it's where the two objects, the two pieces meet, and something has to be shaded. So on here, this is the leaf I was saying we probably could have used the bigger brush, but I got it in there. Okay. You know, you never, at least for me, I don't paint as well when I'm teaching a class or doing a demo. I guess it's just different when you're talking. But I'd like for this one to turn out halfway decent so I can put it in my kitchen. All right, so right here at this stem, next to the leaf and underneath the flower. Okay, we just want to add some dark. Okay, so here's this leaf or the stem underneath this tulip right up here. Okay, so we have it there. We also have it, some shading next to the tulip and along the bottom edge of the leaf. Just like that. Now this, okay, so this is really a tight squeeze, but I can just with the angle, all right next to the flower. And then this leaf right here, the last one, you want to go right next to this flower on this side, and then next to the other flower on the right side. Walk it up a little bit. Okay. So there's all your shades with the Hauser Dark. Okay. Then we're going to take, I believe it was Hauser Light. I just want to make sure that that's on my list. I hope I didn't mess you guys up. I don't think so, but you never know. Hold on 1 second. I'm looking. Hauser Dark, Hauser Medium. Okay, so we didn't have light, but we do have aloe. Maybe that's what I did. Okay. So we're going to take a little bit of this aloe and we're going to add, that's what I did. Wasn't Hauser Light. Okay. I'm glad I looked. So you guys didn't have to go running around looking for your Hauser Light when it wasn't on the list. Anyway. So Hauser Light. Oh gee. Aloe. Okay. So here we're going to add the highlight across the top of that leaf there. You're going to mop it out. Okay. Aloe is a real subtle color. Okay. On this leaf here. I messed up on the camera view. All right, so right here, across the top on this one, kind of come down a little bit. So basically what we're doing with the aloe is just highlight where we want some of that color to pop. You know, if you didn't have aloe, Hauser Light would have worked too. Obviously, I was trying to get you to use it. Okay, so right there, we're also going to do a highlight over here. It's just kind of on the tips, but we walked it down a bit. All right. Right here. We do want to come up across that side. You just start mopping here. You can get away with not mopping some of this stuff up here. Now, let's see, I think we got them all. On the stems, you can just add some streaks. Okay. That got a little. Okay. So there you go. Those are the leaves and the tulips. Okay, now we're gonna start on the top cup, all right? Actually, let's get out a dry brush, decent size, maybe a 10 or a 12 preferably, which is like a ½ inch here, okay? We gotta dry brush some white onto the cups. Well, I may have to use a 10 again, which is fine. So you need to get out some fresh Snow White. And really get that paint off, okay? Because as I've been designing things like this, and I've been using a lot of dry brushing with the white, I've learned that doing it a couple times is okay. In fact, I think it looks better. So you want to keep your dry brush the shape of your cup, right? So you might want to go longer here, and as you move down, you're going to get a little more narrow. Same thing up here, it's a little wider, it's a little smaller. And then in here, oops, sorry about that. For the gray too, we're going to start out here kind of wide and get a little smaller. All right, so let's do this green cup first. Now I'm just going to go light. I'm not doing it real heavy. I wipe most of that paint off, but I'm just kind of going back and forth, just kind of establishing where I want that color to go. So it's hard to see with the camera, I know. I'm going to do it again. I do want to give it a second to dry. Okay, so here we go. And I'm very little pressure, okay? I have enough paint on there, and I'm not pushing real hard. I know a lot of people go like this with these brushes. That's fine. That's probably the way you're supposed to do it. I like to dry brush like this. I do go this way in certain instances. But for this, I want my dry brushing soft. Okay. Let's see, maybe if I turn a light on, you'll see it. Jeez. Well, all right, I'm going to do it again. And you can kind of see it where it's coming up a little bit. I do not want to have to use a different color. Okay. Well, I don't want to keep you here all day with me dry brushing. So there you go. You can start to see it. All right. I don't know what is wrong with this, but it's on there because I can see it. I know it's probably from the aloe colored cup. Let's go to the pink. You'll see this one. I did the same thing, just kind of going back and forth real light. Not a lot of pressure, but because you don't want to dig that hole if you have too much paint, right? The white's coming up. But yeah, I well, probably can't see. Anyway, I'm gonna let that set for a minute. Let's go down here to the gray. You can see the white. You can even see the white up here on the green ink. I'm gonna do the gray. I'm gonna start real soft. Definitely needs more pink. But minimal pressure. I wish my brush was a little bit bigger, but that one wasn't ready to be used. Okay. There you got. Now, where you have these little spaces where the paint didn't hit it, if you let it dry, that's where you can go back. I don't know. I like to dry brush. It's a whole thing for me. It's just as important to get this in as your floats, in my opinion. Okay, so this one really came along well. So now I have my little holes were filled in. They weren't holes that I dug. There was just spots basically that I missed or the brush missed. You know, and you want to go a little softer on the edges, just like that. Okay, I'm going to go back up here and I want to see if I can get a little bit more off of that. Maybe I should try to do a whole painting and dry brushing since I just love it so much. I don't know how that would turn out. I mean, dry brushing, you can use any brush as long as you don't use water. So, all right, let's try this again. Oops, don't want to do that to you. Let's see. Now, this is coming along a little bit better. I think you're going to be able to see it. Yes. One would think I can do clouds, but I've tried. I'm not good at it. I should probably practice a little more. Okay. There you go. Now you got your white here. We're going to get some gray on there or some white on that gray. And we'll be good to start on the top cup. Okay. It's important just to get all this background highlight on there. To me, this is so relaxing. Okay. How's that? That looks good. Okay. And you know, this is all going to pop out more once we get the other colors on here. And I love this combo. These soft spring colors. I just love gray, and I know gray is not really supposed to be in anymore, but there's something about light gray. I know it's all I like the boho colors and I love the tans and things like that, but I just, something with the light gray, I just love it. So maybe it's classic looking. Okay. We got that in. Let's start with cup number 1. And go ahead and get out a little bit of aloe. I almost said aloe vera, but aloe green. Some Snow White. And that would be it for this cup. Okay, so with aloe, in a flat. And I really like this, like I said before, I like Dynasty brushes anyway. So we're going to use this 1/2 inch flat. This isn't the black gold. I have that one too, but I'm using the black silver. Okay. So let's go across the top. Now, when I say go across the top, or the top, I meant the front, across the top, on the front. Because this is the back, right? That's the back of the cup. So we're gonna tap, 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 just like that. Okay. Then we are I know this might still be a tad wet. So I'm just going to come down here across the bottom, right next to that pink cup. Okay. And tap, tap, tap. All right, just like that. And move that mouse out of the way. I don't know if my mouse gets recorded on the picture, if it gets moved onto the screen or not. I don't think it does. Anyway. Okay, so let's come down here. Make sure you're drawing. Don't go too much onto this bottom. But this was aloe also. All right. Yeah. Right here. It's going to be aloe. I'm going to tap that out. See, the reason why I mixed the background color on this top cup, I love aloe, but I just needed something lighter. And the lighter that they carry in decor, I think, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I use light sage a lot, but it was almost too light. So I wanted to keep it in the kind of like that aloe family. All right, so now what you're going to do is get your 1/4 inch flat or angle, and we're going to add some floats that end up looking like checks with the aloe. So we're going to go right here next to the cup. Then let's see. Oh, you know what? Well, okay, it doesn't matter which direction. Depends how you start, but so mine are all going to go down this way. So I'm just putting a little float on each on down the handle just so it looks like little checks. Okay. All right, so we got that in. We're also going to want to add a little bit of this aloe right down here for the back. Okay, and then we're going to add a line over there. So, but that's after. All right, now you're going to use a liner. Now, what I started using was Dynasty's Micron, and these were so great, are so great. This is an extra long Micron 5i. I just like the way it holds. I like the way the paint flows. So we're going to do some cross hatching with this one. You can use a regular liner of your choice. Doesn't have to be this. But just if ever, you need to go buy some new paintbrushes, I recommend this one. I like it. So All right, now we're gonna do the cross hatching. Water down your white paint, your Snow White. Get up on your brush. And do these little lines that are curved. Okay. Just like that. This micron makes a really nice thin line. So here you go. Make sure you don't hit back here, all right? Because that's the back of the cup. We're putting the cross hatching on the front only. Okay. One more. Just like that. And I'm going to start, I'm just going to go start right here. I just want to come back. Mine are always like diamond shapes, which is okay. Sometimes they get a little too wide. But I think I'm happy with this, the way these turned out. Okay. That's, oops, that one got wide, but I'm not gonna fret. All right, let's put that one in. Let's do a line in the back right here so we can distinguish the back of the cup from the front. Okay, just like that. Ooh, mine got a little too much. I'm gonna go back in and I'll fix that probably later. But then you just want to come straight across the top. The front, not the top. But if you go straight across the front, you'll see the back of that right there. And I'll see that I have too much white on that back line. So I'm just going to go in and add a little bit of aloe right in there. Okay. All right, that looks a little better. We're not going to do the dip dots right now. Well, I mean, we can. Hold on one second. Okay, yeah. These the handle on here was only the aloe. So the dip dots are small and Snow White. And to make them all the same size, you would wipe off your stylus after each dip. Okay. So just like that. They're not gonna, I mean, mine are never exact, but I'm gonna come right up there. Oops, didn't wipe it off, but that's all right. I like painting like these type of designs. I don't know why. Just something I kind of started, and I love scallops and I love cross hatching. Maybe because it's kind of vintagey looking and I love vintage. think I was born in the wrong era. Okay. I think I would have made a great 1950s housewife. I just love all this stuff. If I don't think about it, I start to get too carried away with my dots, and they're getting a little bit. I'm wiping it off, but I'm pressing too hard. But I guess it's better because you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. Is it? All right. Next is the middle cup, which is cotton candy. And then we're going to take some of the baby blush. And we're going to water it down a little bit. We're going to add. Now, you can put your pattern on, or you don't have to. You just kind of wing it by just eyeballing it by looking at the picture. Okay. And we're going to paint, well, you should use probably like a 1/4 inch flat. My flat is, that's a quarter for sure. Mine's gonna have to, I think, be a little bit, oh, I guess I do have, no, that's an angle. Sorry, I don't have my act together with my brush sizes, but I'm gonna use it. I think I'm gonna have to use this 10, which is fine. So I'm gonna take some of that baby blush. I'm gonna water it down a little bit so it's a little bit transparent. You don't want it sheer. You want the paint to move. Okay. And we are going to paint 3 wide vertical flat lines. Okay. So we're going to go, oops, 1, 2, 3. Right. I'm going to start right here. 1. Now, I went into the handle, which I did not want to do. So I'm just going to wipe that out. And then we're going to go 2. And it's okay if you get onto the other colors. You can always just go right back over it to get them off. Whoops. Okay. And then we're going to go right here for the 3rd one. Okay. So there's your 3 first flat lines. You're going to let them dry, and then you're going to go across horizontally with 2 of them. Okay. It's hard to see them right now, but they're there. It's just the sliding on the camera. Wonder if it's time to get a new one. Not that old. All right, so now we're going to do 2 more. Okay. we are going to go across this way and this way. What I'm going to do, because you guys can't see that, I got to add some color. So my my plaid is going to have be a little bit darker, just because I want you to be able to see it. So we're going to go right here, just like here, here, and here for the first three. And then we went across this way, and I didn't let mine dry, so that's right. I just want to make sure you guys can see it. All right. Well, not the prettiest plaid in the world, but you know what? I can go back and clean this all up. And anybody can do that with their brush. You just get it wet, as long as it hasn't sat there, you know. You can just lift it off. Okay. And it should be fine. It doesn't look as bad as it does on camera. So. But I wanted to make sure it shows because it was not showing before. All right, so then, all right, so you're going to get a liner and some Snow White. All right, so we're going to go. Okay, I'm sorry. We're going to add this wide stroke here, this wide baby blush. Mine's darker. We're going to go right underneath, and we're going to add Snow White with a liner. Okay. And then we're going to go above this one right here. So basically in the center, we're going to have two. And then we're going to have one. Oops, got way too much paint on there. Now we're going to go right under here like that, okay, with the Snow White. And then we're going to go right here on the right side of this one and the right side of this one of those. When I say this one, I mean those vertical and those first ones we did, the wide and flat. Okay, and then on here. All right. All right, then you're going to get out some cactus flower, which I'm not going to use because I added some wild berry. So I'm going to use wild berry as my float, but you're going to use cactus flower, and the wild berry, you're going to be able to see it better. Okay. So with your flat, get my flat. Blend out your color, your cactus flower. It's a fairly strong color. Pretty. Very vintage. But you're going to go across the top here. Across the front, I should say. Don't go into the back, but you're going to go next to. I want that to be a little bit wider. Okay. Little pat here, right? Let's go down this, across the bottom of this cut. This way. All right, that's the float I was looking for. All right, you can see that. I'm really going to touch this up, so I'm not going to fret too much about it. All right, then we want to do each side. Boy. Let's do a little dry on here. Much better. Soften that up though, a little harsh. All right, then we're going to go across on the other side, the right side up and down. All right. Now we are, leave that. Okay, now with Snow White, we need some C strokes across the top. Okay, so we're just going to go with your 1/4 inch flat or your 1/2 inch. I think a 1/2 inch works better. Okay, we're going to put in some C strokes, aka scallops. You just have to float them in. And mine are never even, rarely on occasion. This one's always bigger. Okay. And then we are going to well, first let's do this. And I don't know if you're seeing this on yours. And I don't know if it's because I use this different color, but if you need to, go back with your liner and your white, add some more if you want, you know, just like that. If you start to lose what the plaid looks like, whoops. So like that, and like that. You know, it doesn't matter. But I think it looks better, obviously, with your cactus. flower. Mine's just way too red for my taste and it's smeared a little bit, but that's okay. I want you to also look at the pattern because it has those lines in there. So then on the scallops, oops, let me get some of the Snow White. And how I did these, I did a dot in the middle and then I just went up like that and they get smaller. Then you can dip it again. I dipped in the center again and then went up. Okay, so I did that on all of these. Okay, you dip it again, just like that, all the way across. Oops. Now these can wait till you're done with your piece. I love these things, these little dip dots. Here. Okay. I ran out of room, but that's all right. Okay. We're gonna add some vines anyway, and I can always cover that up on that side. All right, so then the handle has Snow White floats. Or you can just put in little checks. I think with the white, it doesn't matter. You just need to add a little bit of checks. Okay, just like that. And then your cactus flower, or in my case, wild berry, I'm not liking with this. Which is, I just painted over. Okay, so we're gonna float the inside with the cactus flower. The inside of the handle. So I suggest turning it upside down. Just like that. Okay. And then now I lost my Snow White, obviously, in there. So I'm gonna add it back in. And I'm just gonna use, I mean, this stuff happens all the time when we paint, right? So you want to just add some of that back in. All right, let's see here. I'm gonna take a little bit of my gray sky and well, I haven't gone anywhere. Where the heck? Oh, here it is. Oh no, it's fine. Wow. Oh, here it is. Okay. Jeez. All right. gray sky. I'm gonna add some little bits of, I want to touch it up a tad. All right. Okay, so now you can either trace the pattern on right here, or the comma strokes. You can mark it. You don't have to. You could just put them wherever you want or kind of follow me. I'm going to be looking at the pattern and see. I know on one of the line drawings, it does have it too, which is good. Of course, I can't find which one that would be right now. Oh, I think I have it up here. All right. Oh, but it's not on there. Jeez. Okay. I have it. So here it is. Okay. We're going to do these big ones, these little ones too, but we're going to do it with a gray and white mix because it just, white was almost too white, too bright. We already have that dry brush on the background, so I'm gonna put, oh, you know what? No wonder I'm having such a hard time seeing. I do this every time. I forget to switch glasses when I go from the computer to painting. Maybe that's why I was struggling with that middle cup. All right, so what you're gonna do is I'm gonna use, let's see, a filbert. I love doing comma strokes with filberts. I'm going to use a number 4 filbert. Okay. 30. And I'm going to take my gray sky and load it, but I'm also going to dip it in some Snow White and kind of just dab it off a little bit. So I wonder if I'm going to have to go darker on here so you guys can see it. Let's try one, and if I have to go darker, I will. So for the first one, I'm just going to press down and pull and twist till I get that little point, and you're not seeing that at all. All right, here we go. I am going to use, I need a different gray. Well, I can use Colonial Blue. So you guys can see this straight away. So, whoops. Flat, pull, twist. All right, so there's one. I'm going to put another one over here. 2. And then I'm just going to go on either side. Now this one did not turn out. So that's why I said you may want to put your pattern on and then just fill in your comma strokes. Okay. I'm just, oops. I'm just kind of putting them in there right now like this. Do not go straight up here because there's little scallops up there also. All right. So I'm going to add a little more white. Kind of go back over them. Just mine were looking too dark blue. So once your scallops are in, okay, you're going to let them dry. Look at this design. Actually, you know what? I should just paint on here. Way easier for you guys to understand what I'm talking about. All right, so with a number 4 filbert or a number 2, actually, I think that might have been a little bit big, but that's okay. That I had a number 2. We're gonna go. So this will be your gray and white mix. Okay, so you're gonna put one here. And you're gonna hold it down. Somebody told me once, count to 3, start to pull and lift. So you get that pointed little tail. Okay. You can do all your big ones first and then go back with your smaller. It might give you a better idea of the way the design is moving. Okay. So if I put all my larger ones in, now for the small ones, you can use a liner brush. I mean, you could use a round. It's whatever you guys prefer for your comma strokes. I just like using a filbert. So, but I also like using a liner brush too. All right, so here we have another one. Okay. So these are all different sizes. Once you get your big ones in, then you got a couple of mediums and some smalls. And my intent was just to fill the cup with some type of what's the word? Like a classic design, I guess. Okay. So you're gonna get all these in. Okay. You know, some are going to be darker, some are going to be lighter. And then you're going to take your slate gray. Once all this is dry, and I'm going to continue on with this on the paper because it's just going to, you're going to be able to see it much better. With slate gray, you are going to go across the front like that. And then down the sides. You're going to go right over your strokes, okay? Don't go down here. We're not doing the base. And side here. And across the bottom, above the base, just like that, okay? Then if you have room between your strokes, you can float underneath some of these strokes. Okay. So if you wanted to go right here, you don't want to do too much because you want some of that lighter color to show through. All right, and then the dip dots on here are Snow White. But we also have some line work, and that will be with a liner brush or a one. It's going to be in Snow White. And this is just a little tiny scalloped edge, okay? Just like that all the way across. Okay. And then we also have the checks on the bottom that are Snow White. So it's however you want to just fill them in. You can use your round to make the checks. Use a flat, it doesn't matter. Oh, you know what I did forget? Right here on the second cup, the pink one, there's a dip dots right here. Okay. That kind of finishes off those little scallops. Okay. Also, the floating, the shading on the handle is done in slate gray, the inside. Okay, so just like that with your slate gray. And the Snow White on the outside. Okay. So you're going to go all the way across, just like that. Now, flowers, leaves, cups are done. We need to do the base, which should be base coated in honey brown. So what you're going to do is we're going to dry brush a little bit of honey brown and Snow White. And let's see, let me get some of my honey brown. And you're just going to do a little brush mix. So you add that Snow White because you just want it to be lighter. Obviously, we're doing a highlight. So all I'm doing is now this is wood, right? Or look like wood. So I'm doing it rough on the side. Okay, like that. Do it again. And it's just a rough, almost like a scrape. Okay, so once you have your mix of the honey brown and Snow White, then you're going to go over it again with just the plain Snow White. You don't have to clean your brush, just wipe it out really good. Just grab some of that Snow White and just kind of go across, and that will brighten it up. Okay. And then you're going to get out some asphaltum, and we're going to float. All right. I know you're going to be able to see this because it's a very rich color. All right. But you do have to blend it really well. I shouldn't have said rich color. It's just it's dark, right? So, and especially on this next to this blue, you got a real nice contrast. So we're going to float some of this asphaltum across the top of our little base or tabletop that it's sitting on. You know, and it doesn't have to be the perfect float because it's wood. It's kind of rustic. You do want to float around the cup. Okay. And do a little tapping out. Okay. So just get your asphaltum on there. And down on the sides, if you have a side. Mine's a stamp, so it's a little different look. Okay. Whoops, don't want to close that. We're going to tap some of this out. Okay. You can go back in and take your liner. Okay. You can add some of, oh, sorry. Can't even see it. Well, I guess I might as well go here. Add some of that asphaltum. Okay. As little or as much as you want. Okay. And if you want, go back and do a second coat. Like mine doesn't look like there's really a lot of depth to that. Okay. They just want to come across the bottom again. Okay. So you can play around with that until you're happy with it. Okay. I'm not putting spring on my stamp, but I have it here. So it's a stencil, but you can just paint it on. It's the letters are wide enough to do, or you can put whatever type of letters you want. This just happened to fit. Down. Okay. So for the letters, however you put them in, it's black plum and then also Snow White. So the black plum. Let me get some out. Let me get some brush. A good place to look is on your picture. It shows black plum really well. So ooh, wonder if you're seeing this backwards because it's a word. Shoot. No, that turns it upside down. I don't know how on Zoom. I hate to start messing around, right? Ooh. Well, if you can follow me, it's the inside of the S is black plum. It's a float, okay? And it's also on the bottom here, okay? There was no rhyme or reason where I put these floats. I just put them in. So same thing. So with the P, it was on the inside here, okay? And then on the inside of that part. And then, so the I, oh, I'm sorry, we need to do the R. Is on the right side, going all the way up, and then where it meets. And then on the I, it's on the right side. And then underneath. I shouldn't say underneath, bottom. Okay, then on the N, it's on the N, it's the right side and the right side. Okay. And then on the G, it's the right side. And then it's also the left side. So pretty much, oh, well, it's the left side, but it's the right, it's the inside of the left side. It's right here. So that's what I did for the shading on the lettering. And then with the white, Snow White, and you can just take a round one, and I just added the highlights. You just want these letters kind of to pop. All right, so it doesn't, it's not a formula of how I put these in. I guess maybe it should be at some point. But I just each little section I added some white. Okay. Don't go as wide as I did right there. It's a little, you get a little heavy handed. Here, here. Okay. And then the G. Okay. And then right there. And those are the letters. So I wish I knew. I never had to use that changing the mirror on the Zoom before, so I don't want to start now. I think everybody can look at the pattern and see that. Okay, so the bees. these can be painted a little bit. Now, I don't think there's a pattern because it was it's a stencil. But they're so simple that you don't need to use a stencil, okay? You can just take some of your sunny day yellow and okay, not good. Oh, here. You can take some of your yellow, and I'm gonna just demo one for you. And I'm gonna do it right here. Actually, no, I'm not, because I want you to be able to see it. So we're gonna do one right here. They're not big, but they're not small either, okay? So we're just gonna kind of make like a long V, like an ice cream cone shape or a triangle, kind of like that, okay? And then we're gonna use Plant Black for the head. I'm gonna use asphalt because don't think I took that one black for some reason. Anyway, so then his head is just a little circle, okay, like that, in black, okay, and then his stripes, little black stripes are like that. So now, and bees, they're not perfectly shaped. You have the little fuzz on them, so that's why you do the little wiggle here, okay. All right. Darn, I wish I had my book. I don't know what happened to it. Okay. Then we're going to take, now we're going to take a little bit of white. And the wings are kind of long, right? They're not real fancy, but they're just like that. Okay, so now let's just leave that. I'm going to go back and fill in his head just a little bit more so it looks a little more black for you. Okay. And his tail, right here, it's a tip. Stinger. All right. I'm just going to add another little bit more right here. Okay. Now for on the wing, take a tad of asphaltum, or I'm sorry, of the black. I'm using asphaltum, and I'm saying really light because this is going to be a little float on the wing next to his body. So, okay, just like that. All right, just like that. Now, with liner, so he has these little antennas that kind of just go opposite of each other like that. And then we're gonna have one on each side, kind of next to the wing. These aren't antennas, I'm assuming they are feet. And then, or legs, I should say feet, I don't think these have feet. We're gonna go like that for the back legs. And put two of those in. And then just like this. Okay. Then I'm gonna take, now this is gonna look a little different because you guys used lamp black. But make a little thin highlight here and here. Okay. And that's it for your little bee. I mean, if you want the stencil, you can email me and I'll send them to you. But that's an easy way to do it. So it's just a little triangle, a little ball. So it actually looks like a little ice cream cone. You put some little white wings and the little legs. So, oh, and the stripes too. All right. What I also did on this piece was I used Hauser Dark and I just did some line work. And that is wherever you want to do it, but use a good liner. Okay. So like if I don't like something on here, like this area right here, because it's a little smaller, you know, I can do, whoops, you didn't even see that, and that turned out okay. All right, so just like that. You're gonna want to add some line work here and there, and it's just like that on the picture. Okay. And, oh, shoot. You know what we need to do is that little tag, the T tag. Well, that T tag is base coated black. Okay. And then I did some white just some white line work. So get that in there. Find it. All right, so I'm just gonna make however you guys wanna. You don't have to have yours black. You can put it whatever color you want. So I'm just gonna put a little. I just want you guys to see what I'm doing here as far as just gonna put that little bag right there. And then the word T is on there. So I used Snow White. So I definitely put, oh, paint on it. If you want to use a paint pen, you can do that too. But I just put a little design. Okay, just on around the tea bag. Okay, and then I put the word tea. You can trace on, which is probably what I should have done. So, wow. Oh my gosh, I'm becoming impatient. Let me start over. That wasn't good. but I think you get the gist of it. Let me put some more color in here. And then I'm going to dry it real quick. Okay. Now I can. And I didn't like using a big long liner for that. I'm going to use my number 1. So then you can just put the word T. I know I did my A a little different. Okay. Oh no, I didn't. I did it the right way. I surprised myself. All right, so now I'm just gonna put little scallops around the whole thing. So I want to get to the little tea bag, the string. Okay. That's in lamp black too. So, and it was just okay. Most important thing is to make sure that it's hooked in, or the the string is coming out of the cup. All right. And there's also this finishing line work in black or a pen, doesn't matter. And then I also did some floating around the cups with I want to make sure I give you that correct. With gray sky. Okay. So you want to float with gray sky around the cups. Around the cups here, under here, here, and along the tops here. So I'm going to use, I'm not going to use gray sky, you're not going to see it. I'm going to go back to the colonial blue. Okay. Now you don't have to go and float around every object, but you definitely want to float around some of the main pieces. So if you wanted to start down here around a teacup, okay, this is way, way too dark. The gray sky is going to be a lot lighter, okay, and it's a good idea to tap it out. Okay, that's super dark, but I would suggest you do this too before you do any of your tendrils, because you can just go over the gray sky with whatever little vines you paint on there. So you want to go around the teacups, the handles. But you also want to make sure you go in next to the cup itself. Okay. Because that's where it's a little bit darker. So you're going to do that on all the cups. Okay. Also, come across the top of your base for sure. So, oops. I'm having trouble pulling up this paint. So it's right here. And let's see, tap some of that out. Okay. And I did it very lightly on the letters. I'm just going to show you here. But a little bit inside the S and the P and right next to the R right here. Underneath a little bit too. Okay. So get that in there. There's white, little white dip dots, little white polka dots, and then this line work going around. So, and that would be it. I hope you enjoyed this class. It was fun getting to paint this again. I will definitely be doing it over though with the correct color. But anyways, thanks for showing up. And I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, you can contact me at lbigliotto at hotmail.com or on my Facebook or visit my website, livebigliotto.com. Thanks. Bye-bye.